to you. And all the preaching in the world can't do that. You have to live your way into it. All right, that's what we talk about, live our way into the right thing. You live your way into the awareness that God is real, that He's right here all around you, helping you every day. If you're not blocking Him off too bad, you know, with your I want, I need, I like bullshit, you know. If you just wake up in the morning, and the sooner you get to that point, if you stay sober, you're working the steps, you will get to that point where you wake up in the morning and you say, hey, you know what's best, I don't, thy will be done, you know, thy will be done. I'll take the next indicated step today, you just lay it out in front of me, one step at a time. And whatever happens is what's supposed to happen, and it's okay. You get to that point and everything's working good, you know. And that brings us to the third step. Made a decision to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood God. And again, like we talked about, we agnostics, it don't matter what your idea of God is. For me, honestly, in the beginning, it was good orderly direction. It was the group of drunks. I trusted the process. I turned my will and my life over to Alcoholics Anonymous. I trusted these people knew what they were doing. They knew what they were talking about. And I'm going to follow their direction. And I really did trust them. Like I said, I'd come to a meeting and I'm waiting to be told what I was going to do tomorrow. It was a beautiful thing. Turn our life over to God as we trust Him. And if you read in the book there, you guys reading the book every day? Mm-hmm. You're not, I can tell. You're cheating yourself. You got to read the big book. You know, that was one of the things, I thank God I got sober in a group of big book thumpers. I mean, they were all about the book, the book, the book. They had me in 3 different book studies the first year or more, Joe and Charlie. I mean, I knew the first 164 pages. A lot of them would start their pitch in the meetings, you know, the solutions in the first 164 pages of the big book, you know, and it is. But what were we talking about?
Big book. Reading the big book.
Oh yeah, if you're reading the big book, that happens to me a lot. In the third step, it says we made a decision to turn our will and our life over to God. Just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do? That's a really essential question. It's at the center of everything. Because I had gone to church, and I'm not knocking anybody's church or any church. Church is fine. When I got in severe trouble with my alcoholism, about 5 years before I got sober, I went to church seeking help with my alcoholism. And they said, well, you got to turn your life over to God, and God will deliver you from that drinking, and you'll be, you know, God is what you need. That's true. That's all true. But they didn't tell me how to do it. Right. They said, I said, well, how do I turn my life over to God? What do I do? Well, you got to say this prayer, repeat after me, and yada, yada, yada. It's a done deal. Yeah. And I walked out the back door of the church. God was not running my life. I hadn't surrendered anything. I didn't know how. I mean, yeah, I said the prayer. I walked out the door and I'm fully in charge, you know. Hurry up, you know, get the kids in the fucking car. Ball game's going to start in a few minutes. We got to go. Look at all these people, Jesus Christ. I mean, nothing had changed, you know. Nothing had changed at all. So it says, just what do we mean by that? Just what do we do? He says, well, the first thing we got to do is understand that self-will is killing you. Your self-will, any life run on self-will is doomed to fail. And I don't care whether you drink or not. Because I know some people that are very materially successful that are really sick, you know, really ate up, really unhappy people. There's a lot of them like that, sadly. Yeah, you live in self-will, you pay the price. It says everybody is like an actor that wants to, when you're living in self-will, it's like an actor that wants to run the whole show. Is forever trying to arrange the lights, the scenery, the ballet, and the rest of the players in his own way. All right, and isn't that the truth? We try to arrange our duckies in a row. If I get this job and get here and do this and be accepted by these people and get this girl and get enough money, heavens knows, money will fix it. It says we are convinced that if only people would do as we wished and everything would fall into place, life would be wonderful. That's a mirage, it's a delusion. There was many times in my first 35 years of playing God, where I had things the way I wanted them. I had the new truck, I had the girl, you know, just got paid off the job. It was a big job, pocket full of money. I had all that shit over and over again. And life was not wonderful.
Nope.
It was not wonderful. The best idea I could ever come up with is I need a fucking drink. Let's go get a drink, you know. Same solution. So, self-will, and self-will, understand, it's that state of mind. I want, I like, I think, I need, I don't like, you know, I. That state of mind does not produce life as wonderful, but it does produce something. It has definite consequences. Like I said earlier, if you're going to live in self-will, you're going to pay the price. What are the consequences? You read that next chapter down, it says, we become angry, indignant, self-pitying, and a little farther down the page it says, driven by 100 forms of fear. Well, think about it. If it's really important to you today that things go your way, that everything goes right, you know, that he does this and she does that, and they treat me really nice at work, nobody says anything mean to me, and everybody is polite to me, if that's really important because you're such a, you know, self-centered, demanding person, you got a lot to worry about, don't you?
All day.
All day. You know, and when people don't act right and don't treat us right, we get terribly upset, and that compounds things because we lash out and we respond badly and we get more of the same back. All based on I want, I like, I think, you know, I know what's best. It's painful. It's horribly painful. We have to have another way to go. Self-will does not work. And you can prove it to yourself too. I always used to give this example. You're getting up in the morning, say you're working a program, you're really, you know, like you guys are, and you get up in the morning and you do your meditation and you've made a good surrender, you're pretty clear, you know, I just want to work the program today and have some peace of mind, I just don't want to be sick today. You're off, you walk outside, it's a sunny, beautiful day, the birds are chirping, the flowers are, you know, it's nice, it's good, you're happy to be alive. And then you get to work and something happens. The boss calls you in, he says, hey, you're gonna work with this guy today. I'm taking you off of that project, put you over here. You're gonna go out with Fred over here and clean up the back 40 back there. And you got a choice right there. You either say, okay, they're paying me. We'll go shovel some shit for a while. Come on, Fred. Or self-will rears its ugly head and says, what the fuck? I've been here longer than these three guys. Why don't they go? And you might not say it out loud because you don't want to get fired, but your head starts barking at you. The shitty committee comes to life. It ain't fair. It ain't right. Besides that, Fred's an asshole. I don't like Fred anyway. And here goes. Now, where's the birds chirping and that good inside condition? It's gone. It's gone. Now you're fucking pissed. You got a knot in your gut, and it just compounds itself until you stop. You know, go off someplace, hit your knees, say, hey, I'm sorry, God, I'm blowing it here. Please restore me to sanity. Or if you don't do that, and you aren't able to do that, you ain't gonna get free from that shit until the meeting at least tonight, assuming you have enough sense to be in an AA meeting that night, or the next morning. You know, you'll suffer all day. What happened? What happened? Self-will reared its ugly head and you took the fucking bait. You know, you gotta learn it's your mortal enemy, you know. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our problems, okay? If it has to be my way, I got a lot to worry about and a lot to be pissed off about, and I'm gonna worry and I'm gonna be pissed off. And if I do that, I gotta drink. I gotta smoke dope, I gotta do whatever I gotta do to kill that, all right? We have to have another way to go. So I want, intellectually, I make the decision, I want to have peace of mind, I want to turn my life over to something bigger than myself, I just don't know how to do it. And it's profoundly simple, but until you see it for yourself and experience it, you don't know how to do it, you know, you're gonna keep struggling. And this is something you need to get and get a hold of. That's why I do these things this way. I do the first 3 steps as one unit because I got to give my guys something to hold on to while they begin to clean house and work the rest of the steps. If you don't know how to surrender, you're liable to be washed away before you ever get to step 4. You know, or in the process of trying to write a 4th step. You got to know how to turn your life over to God. You got to know how to get the fuck out of the way in the first 3 steps. So I'm standing at the Garden Grove Club there where I sobered up, and I'm about as sober as you guys, you know, and trying, but I'm still real sick, and I'm talking with a couple of guys, my sponsor and some of his friends, and I'm whining and bitching and moaning like I sometimes still did at that point, you know. So what a rough day I had, and these, you know, fuck this, fuck. Big black cat looks down at me, his name was Cleve, he says, Rick, you need to go home and read page 449. I said, what's on 449? He said, well, go read it. But I had so much respect for that guy and for all my sponsors, peers, you know. I really did. I held them, and rightfully so. They knew how to fucking live, and I didn't. You know, they were sober, you know. And I went out to my truck, and I drove home, 449, 449. That's 417, by the way, now. You know, they changed it when the new edition came out. And I opened the book, and that beautiful, beautiful paragraph we have on acceptance just jumped off the page. I mean, right into my soul. I saw it. You know, when I'm disturbed, it's because acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it's because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact in my life unacceptable to me. My selfishness and my 3-year-old baby mentalities jumped up. I start throwing my food, banging on the high chair. No. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being just the way it's supposed to be right now. God either is or he isn't. You ask him in the morning to take care of you, you're either going to let him do that or you're going to kick and fuss, and God say, hey, apparently you need some pain today. Have at it, man. You know, and the rest of the paragraph that we know so well because we read it every day with good reason, you know. And I saw it. If I could actually live that way, I would have serenity. And I made a decision right then. I saw it and made a decision. I am going to place more value on my serenity than on getting my own way. All right? I just don't want to be sick today. I just want to have peace of mind, enjoy some peace of mind today. And I began to put that into practice immediately. You know, that night, the next day, I went out on the highway. The highway was one of the first places I saw it. People cutting in front of me, and I used to be, you know, like a child, you know, motherfucker. And I said, hey, go on, lady. Acceptance is the answer. Go on. I'm not in a hurry. And it felt so good. You know, I'm driving to a meeting in those first few days with a friend of mine, and I said, Jesus Christ. He said, hey. I said, look, we're going to be late. He said, hey, we'll get there when we get there. I said, okay, I never thought of that before. Never saw it. No, really, we never looked at things that way. You know, everything was life and death. Everything was a big fucking deal, you know. Everything. And that's a lot of shit, man. That's a big deal. And I said, no, I ain't going to live that way today. Maybe tomorrow I'll go insane and do it again, but not today. Today it's okay with me. And I learned to make what we call a practical surrender, all right? A practical surrender that I make every morning. That was 32 years ago, and I did it this morning. Thy will be done. And what you learn in as you know, we say we live our way into right thinking. We live our way into a much better state of consciousness and a much better state of being. It's peaceful and joyful. You know, joy. We have joy in time. We develop these things. It takes time. Uncover, discover, discard. We'll get to that later. But you know, it starts with this third step. And what we learn over the process. I was sitting in a meeting when I was about 9 months sober, and somebody was sharing about, You know, I wish I knew what God's will was for me. You know, they were kind of being a little sanctimonious. I need to find God's will. I just want to do God's will. And it occurred to me, it was one of them, you know, He's talking to you if you're listening. You know, He'll tell you really vitally important stuff. And it just came into my mind that I knew it was God. He said, God's will is for you to be happy. God's will is for you to be healthy and well, sober and sane. That's all. That's all. What do you want for your kids? And I thought, I just want them to be okay. Well, that's God's will for me. Because when you're happy and well and sane, you do good things. We're sitting here tonight, right? Lots of good things have happened in the last 30 years. But I can't do nothing if I'm sick and crazy. All right? So God doesn't want anything from us. He wants things for us, just like we did with our kids. I don't come out on Christmas morning and say, "What'd you get me, kids?"
Right.
Excited to look at them opening their presents, right? You know, it's all about that, the kids, you know. Thy will be done is the most self-serving prayer you can pray. I pray for my own sake, thy will be done. Please, don't let me step all over myself today. Don't let me make stupid, selfish decisions, you know. Thy will be done. You know better than I do. You know better than I do. And that becomes a reality to you. All of this becomes a reality.